I'm Marco Diaz, only child.
I'm sorry, Marco. Marco's super awesome matches. Marco Diaz. Marco. Oh, classic Marco. Marco. Oh, Marco.
Yeah! Oh!
Marco.
No! Morning, Marco.
Marco, are you okay? Marco Diaz! Marco, where are you? Good job, Marco! Just give me the cock-a-doodle charger!
Oh, Marco.
Marco, you gotta keep me away from boys!
Wait a second. Marco's a boy.
Marco!
Emergency cash stash.
Wow, Marco. Oh, Marco.
Marco.
Wow, Marco.
Oh, no.
You gotta fix me, Diaz. Hi, I'm Marco. My skinny jeans are awesome. Oh, here comes Jackie Lynn Thomas. I'm gonna impress her with my karate. I got this cute little mole.
Undie pants.
Oh, no. Marco's naked.
No, I'm in my jams.
Marco!
Wow, Marco. You really saved my face.
Yes, finally.
I don't get it. Why is this tally thing such a big deal to you?
I don't know. I guess you're this magic princess from another dimension, and I'm just...
Star PhD. Marco, you are awesome. We don't need to get caught up in who saves who. All that matters is that we have each other's back.
Marco!
What do you think?
You look amazing.
Thanks, Marco. Goodbye, Marco.
Let's go, Marco.
Sorry, Marco. Marco taught me how to play this. Marco.
Yes, Marco.
Marco.
Sweet Marco.
Marco. Come on, Marco, you try.
Let me just...
Marco, I'm sorry.
Marco? No Marco.
Hey, have you guys seen Marco?
Marco? Where'd you put your legs?
What have you done with Marco?
Marco!
Now let Marco go.